Daniel Crawford had everything a person could want, or so everyone believed. At 42 years old, he stood at the helm of Crawford Technologies, a software empire worth billions that he'd built from a college dorm room idea. His penthouse apartment overlooked the glittering downtown skyline. His cars were custom-made, and his name appeared regularly in business magazines alongside words like visionary and genius. But on this particular Tuesday evening in late autumn, Daniel sat alone in his corner office on the 53rd floor, staring at divorce papers that had arrived that morning. His wife of 15 years, Amanda, had finally had enough. The papers cited irreconcilable differences, but Daniel knew the truth. He'd chosen board meetings over birthdays, acquisitions over anniversaries, and profits over presents. His two children, Emma and Jack, barely knew him anymore. Emma was 14 now, and when he tried to call her last week, she'd asked if he could text instead because she was kind of busy. Jack, only 11, had stopped asking when Dad would be home for dinner. Daniel loosened his tie and walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows. Below, the city pulsed with life, people heading home to families, to warmth, to connections he'd somehow lost along the way. His phone buzzed constantly with emails, alerts, notifications. Everyone wanted something from Daniel Crawford the billionaire. Nobody wanted anything from Daniel Crawford the man. His assistant, Rebecca, had left hours ago, reminding him gently that he had an early flight to Singapore tomorrow for another deal. Another hotel room, another contract, another empty achievement. Daniel pressed his forehead against the cool glass. For the first time in decades, a thought crept into his mind that terrified him more than any business failure ever could. What if I've been building the wrong thing all along? He grabbed his coat and left the office, ignoring the cleaning crew's polite goodbyes. He needed air. He needed to think. He needed something he couldn't name but felt desperately missing from his perfectly constructed life. Daniel walked aimlessly through downtown streets he rarely traveled on foot. His driver usually whisked him between destinations, but tonight he'd waved Marcus away and simply started walking. The autumn air bit at his face, and he welcomed the discomfort. It was the first real sensation he'd felt in months. His phone rang repeatedly. Rebecca, probably panicking about the Singapore trip. A board member, likely wanting to discuss the quarterly projections. He silenced it and kept walking. After 20 minutes, he found himself in an older part of downtown, where the gleaming towers gave way to aging brick buildings and small businesses closing for the night. His expensive leather shoes clicked against cracked sidewalks he'd never noticed from his tinted car windows. That's when he heard it, a sound that stopped him cold. Someone was crying. Not the quiet, dignified tears of a boardroom setback, but raw, desperate sobbing that seemed to tear from somewhere deep and broken. Daniel looked around and spotted a figure huddled in the doorway of a closed bookstore. The man sat on flattened cardboard boxes, his head buried in his hands, his shoulders shaking. He wore layers of worn clothing, a faded military jacket on top, and a weathered backpack sat beside him. His gray-streaked beard was unkempt, and even from several feet away, Daniel could see he was homeless. For a moment, Daniel considered walking past. He'd seen homeless people before, of course, usually through car windows, abstract problems he occasionally wrote checks to charities to address. But something about this man's anguish felt different. It felt real in a way Daniel's own carefully controlled life never did. The man looked up suddenly, and their eyes met. His face was weathered and lined, probably in his 60s, with eyes that held both deep pain and unexpected clarity. "I'm sorry," the man said, wiping his face with a sleeve. "Didn't mean to disturb anyone." Daniel found himself stepping closer instead of walking away. "Are you all right?" The man let out a hollow laugh. "That's a question with a long answer, friend." Daniel surprised himself by sitting down on the cold concrete beside the homeless man. His expensive suit would be ruined, but he found he didn't care. Something about this moment felt more important than dry cleaning bills. "I'm Daniel," he offered, extending his hand. The man looked at it for a moment, as if suspicious of the gesture, then shook it firmly. "Robert, most people call me Bobby." They sat in silence for a moment. Daniel waited, unsure what had compelled him to sit down but unwilling to leave. "Lost my daughter today," Bobby finally said, his voice cracking. "Well, not today exactly. Lost her 3 years ago, but today would have been her birthday. 28 years old, she'd be 28. Daniel's chest tightened. "I'm so sorry, what happened?" "Car accident, drunk driver ran a red light." Bobby stared at the sidewalk. "I was supposed to pick her up that night. She called me, asked if I could give her a ride home from work, but I was drinking. Told her I'd had a few and couldn't drive, so she took the bus instead. And that's where she was when that drunk driver—" He couldn't finish. Daniel sat quietly, feeling the weight of Bobby's guilt, a weight he recognized from his own life, though worn differently. "I had everything before that," Bobby continued. "Good job as a construction foreman, nice apartment, saved up for retirement, but after Katie died I couldn't handle it, started drinking more, lost my job, lost my place, lost myself. Been on the streets for 2 years now." "You don't drink anymore?" Daniel asked gently. Bobby shook his head. "Been sober 14 months. Turns out being sober on the streets is harder than being drunk because you feel everything. Every failure, every loss, every cold night, can't numb it anymore." Daniel found himself opening up in a way he never did, even with therapists Amanda had begged him to see. "I got divorce papers today. My wife's leaving me. My kids barely know me. I've spent 20 years building a company and forgot to build a family." Bobby looked at him with unexpected understanding. "What do you do?" "I run a tech company, Crawford Technologies." Bobby's eyebrows raised slightly. "The billionaire guy. I've seen your face on magazine covers at the library." Daniel nodded, feeling embarrassed by the recognition. "For what it's worth, which apparently isn't much." "Money can't fix everything," Bobby said quietly, "but I bet you're learning that the hard way." They sat in silence again. A police car drove slowly past, the officer giving them a long look but not stopping. Daniel realized how they must appear: an expensive-suited businessman sitting on the sidewalk with a homeless man at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. "You know what I'd give to have what you've got," Bobby said suddenly. "Not the money, though I won't lie, that'd be nice, but the chance. You've still got your kids alive. Your wife may be angry but still breathing. You've got time to fix things." Daniel felt something crack inside his chest. "I don't know how." "That's because you've been fixing the wrong problems," Bobby said with unexpected firmness. "I spent my whole life thinking I could fix anything with my hands. Built houses, repaired foundations, constructed things that last 100 years. But I couldn't fix my daughter's death. Couldn't fix my own guilt. Couldn't fix the hole inside me." He turned to face Daniel directly. "But you've still got a chance. Your family's not gone, they're just distant. That's something you can actually fix if you're willing to do the work." "What kind of work?" Daniel asked, and he realized he was genuinely asking for help from a homeless man, something he never would have imagined doing. Bobby smiled sadly. "The hardest kind, the kind that doesn't show up on a balance sheet. You gotta fix yourself first, friend, figure out what matters. Because I can tell you from experience, you don't know what you've got until it's buried in the ground." Daniel felt tears welling up, something that hadn't happened in years. "I don't know if they'll even give me another chance." "Then you ask, you beg if you have to. You show up every single day and you prove you've changed. Not with money or gifts, with time, with presence, with actually giving a damn." Bobby's voice grew passionate. "I'd give everything I ever had for one more conversation with my Katie, one more hug, but you've got that chance right now tonight, and you're sitting here on a sidewalk with me instead of fighting for it." The words hit Daniel like a physical blow. Daniel pulled out his phone with shaking hands. 11 missed calls, 23 unread emails, 2 texts from Rebecca about the Singapore flight, nothing from Amanda or the kids, but then again, why would there be? He'd trained them not to expect him to answer. "When's your flight?" Bobby asked, noticing the phone. 6 in the morning, business deal in Singapore, worth about 200 million. Bobby laughed, not unkindly. "And worth what exactly if you lose your family over it?" Daniel stared at his phone. He'd spent 20 years never missing a business opportunity, never canceling a deal, never putting anything above Crawford Technologies. The company was his identity, his purpose, his everything. Or it had been until tonight. "I could cancel," he said slowly, testing the words. "Could you?" Bobby challenged. "Or is that just something you're saying because it sounds good? Because I'm gonna tell you something harsh, Daniel. Talk is cheap. I talked about getting sober for years. Talked about changing, about honoring Katie's memory, about being better. But talking doesn't mean a damn thing. Action does." Daniel opened his email and found the Singapore trip itinerary. 3 days of meetings, negotiations, presentations. His CFO and legal team were already there, preparing. Canceling would cost the company money, maybe the deal itself. But Bobby was right. What was it worth? He stood up, his legs stiff from sitting on the cold concrete. "I need to make some calls." "That's a start," Bobby said. "But calls aren't enough. You gotta show up. Not tomorrow, not next week. Tonight, right now. You go to wherever your family is and you start doing the work." Daniel pulled out his wallet and found 5 $20 bills, all the cash he had on him. He handed them to Bobby. "This isn't much, but—" Bobby pushed his hand away gently. "Keep your money. That's not what tonight's about. You want to thank me. Go fix your life. Don't end up like me, sitting on a sidewalk crying about chances you missed." Daniel hesitated, then put the money away. "Where do you stay? Maybe I could help you find." "Don't try to fix me to make yourself feel better about your own problems," Bobby interrupted, but not harshly. "I've got resources I use. Shelter opens at 10. I'll be fine. You worry about your own family." Daniel called his driver, Marcus, who arrived within 10 minutes looking concerned. "Sir, are you all right? I've been circling the area. Ms. Rebecca was worried." "I'm fine, Marcus. Take me to Riverside." He gave Amanda's sister's address, where his wife had been staying for the past 3 weeks with the kids. The drive took 40 minutes through sparse late-night traffic. Daniel spent the time making difficult calls. First to Rebecca, "Cancel Singapore. Send Jeffrey and the legal team. They can handle it." Rebecca's shock was palpable. "Sir, Mr. Crawford, this is a $200 million deal. You've been planning this for 6 months. I know what it is. Cancel it. Reschedule for next month if they'll wait. If they won't, they won't." Next, he called his CFO, Jeffrey, waking him in Singapore. "I need you to lead the negotiations. I trust you. You've been ready for this." Jeffrey sputtered awake. "Daniel, what's going on? Are you sick?" "No, I'm finally getting healthy. You can do this, Jeffrey. I believe in you." His final call was to his attorney. "Richard, about the divorce papers Amanda sent. Don't file any response yet. I need some time." "Daniel, she's asked for a settlement meeting next week. We need to prepare." "I don't want to prepare for war. I want to prepare to save my marriage, hold off on everything." When he hung up, Marcus was watching him in the rearview mirror. "If you don't mind my saying, sir, it's good to see you taking a different path. You've been my driver for 8 years, Marcus. Have I ever asked about your family?" Marcus blinked, surprised by the question. "No, sir." "Tell me about them." For the rest of the drive, Marcus talked about his wife Rosa, his 3 daughters, his mother-in-law who lived with them. He spoke with warmth Daniel envied. Here was a man who made modest money driving other people around, yet had a richness Daniel's billions couldn't buy. When they pulled up to Amanda's sister's house, Daniel's heart hammered. Lights were still on inside. It was nearly 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night, but he could see movement through the curtains. "Should I wait, sir?" Marcus asked. "No, go home to Rosa and your daughters. Thank you, Marcus, really." Daniel walked up the driveway on shaking legs, each step feeling like the most important of his life. He rang the doorbell. Footsteps approached, and then Amanda's sister Jennifer opened the door, her expression immediately hostile. "You've got a lot of nerve showing up here." "I need to talk to Amanda, please, Jennifer." "She doesn't want to talk to you. She signed divorce papers for a reason, Daniel, 20 years of reasons." "I know, and I'm not here to make excuses or try to bully my way back in. I just need 5 minutes. If she tells me to leave after that, I'll go." Jennifer studied his face, perhaps seeing something different there. "Wait here." She closed the door. Daniel stood on the porch, cold and uncertain. Through the window, he saw Jennifer climb the stairs. Voices murmured from above, then footsteps descended. Amanda appeared in the doorway, wearing sweatpants and an old college sweatshirt Daniel remembered from decades ago. She looked tired, guarded, and heartbreakingly familiar. "You're supposed to be on a plane to Singapore," she said flatly. "I canceled it." Her eyes widened. "You canceled a $200 million deal." "It's just money, Amanda. I've been getting that wrong for 20 years. She crossed her arms. "One grand gesture doesn't fix 2 decades of missed birthdays and empty promises, Daniel." "I know it doesn't, that's not why I'm here." He took a breath. "I met someone tonight, a homeless man named Bobby. He lost his daughter 3 years ago and he's been on the streets ever since because he couldn't handle the grief. And he told me something that broke me open." Amanda waited, skeptical but listening. "He said I still have a chance, that my family is still alive, still here, still possible to reach. He'd give anything for one more conversation with his daughter, but I have that opportunity right now and I've been squandering it." Daniel's voice cracked. "I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose Emma and Jack. And I know I can't fix 20 years in one night, but I'm asking, begging for the chance to try." Tears slipped down Amanda's cheeks. "Do you even know what Emma's interested in right now? Or what Jack's struggling with in school? Do you know anything about their actual lives?" "No," Daniel admitted. "I don't, and that's my shame, but I want to learn, I want to show up. Not just tonight, but tomorrow and the day after and every day after that." Amanda wiped her eyes. "The kids are asleep. Emma has a volleyball tournament this Saturday. She's starting setter. Jack's failing math because he can't focus on homework. He'd rather draw every single day. He wants to be an artist, Daniel, and you've been pushing him toward business school since he was 8 years old." Each fact landed like a punch. His daughter played volleyball. His son wanted to be an artist. Daniel had missed all of it while sitting in boardrooms conquering markets that didn't matter. "I want to be at that tournament," he said. "I want to see Jack's drawings. I want to learn who they actually are." Amanda studied him for a long moment. "I'm not taking you back tonight. You don't get to cry and apologize and have everything go back to normal. There is no normal to go back to, that's the problem." "I understand. But I won't stop you from seeing the kids, from being present. If you actually mean what you're saying, prove it, show up. Consistently. Not when it's convenient, but when it matters. Learn their schedules. Come to their games and concerts and parent-teacher conferences. Be their father, not their ATM." "I will," Daniel promised. "Starting tomorrow." "What time does Emma wake up?" 6:30. She likes to go running before school." "Can I take her or just run with her?" Amanda's expression softened slightly. "You can ask her. But Daniel, if you do this, if you show up tomorrow morning and she gives you a chance, you cannot disappoint her. Not again. She's built walls around her heart because of you. If you break through and then leave again, it'll destroy her." "I won't leave again. I'm done building companies at the expense of building a family." Jennifer appeared behind Amanda, holding Daniel's divorce papers. "Then you should know Amanda hasn't filed these yet. She's been carrying them around for 3 days, trying to work up the courage." Amanda shot her sister a look, but didn't deny it. I don't want to force you into anything, Daniel said carefully. If divorce is what you need, I'll sign them. I'll give you whatever you want. But if there's even a small chance that we could rebuild something, not what we had, but something better, I'm asking for that chance. Amanda took the papers from Jennifer and looked at them for a long moment. Then she walked to the small table by the door and set them down. They'll stay here, unsigned, for now. But I need to see change, Daniel, real lasting change, not just words. You will, I promise. She nodded slowly. There's a coffee shop 2 blocks from our house. Emma runs past it every morning. Be there at 6:45. If she stops, you can talk to her. If she doesn't respect that, and try again. Daniel felt hope kindle in his chest for the first time in years. Thank you, Amanda, for giving me this chance. Don't thank me yet. The hard part is just beginning. As Daniel walked back to where Marcus's car had been, he'd have to call another ride. He pulled out his phone and found Bobby's story in his mind. A man who'd lost everything and would give anything for one more moment with his daughter. Daniel had been given something precious tonight, awareness of what he still had, before it was too late to save it. He texted Rebecca, clear my schedule for the next month, family matters only, no exceptions. Then he called a hotel near Amanda's house and booked a room for the next 30 days. He'd be there every morning at 6:45. He'd be at Emma's volleyball tournament. He'd sit with Jack and look at his drawings. He'd do the work. Because a homeless man sitting on a broken sidewalk had taught him something his billions never could. Some things once lost can never be bought back. But some things, if you catch them in time, can be saved. Daniel didn't know if Amanda would ever truly forgive him. Didn't know if his kids would let him back into their hearts. But tonight, for the first time in 20 years, he was going to try to fix something that actually mattered. The man who had everything discovered that what he'd really had was nothing. And the man who had nothing taught him what truly mattered. Sometimes the richest lessons come from the poorest places. Sometimes you have to lose yourself completely to find out who you were supposed to be all along. Daniel would show up tomorrow, and the day after, and every day after that for as long as it took. Because Bobby was right, he still had a chance, and he wasn't going to waste it.